From MontanaSports.com, this is MTN Sports Extra.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Sports Extra on a Saturday night. I'm Tom Wiley. Thanks for joining us. Well, Montana State opened the season on the losing end of a matchup with number 7 Oregon. But now that the money game is in the rear view, the Cats' season begins in earnest with perennial FCS title contender South Dakota State in Bozeman for the annual Gold Rush game.
The top 5 matchup against number 2 South Dakota State here in Bozeman for the Gold Rush game.
Jackrabbits march down the field on their first drive, but on 3rd and goal, Alex Eckert into the backfield gets the sack, led to a field goal. It's 3-0. MSU defense continuing to get it done. Great Falls native Cole Taylor forces a fumble, but MSU couldn't turn that drive into points. Let's go to the second quarter. MSU breaks through. It's Stanford transfer. Justin Lamson working his way in from 7 yards out, and MSU goes on top, 7-3. Next Cats possession, they're back to punt. It is blocked, and it will be recovered by the Jackrabbits, and it leads to this. Chase Mason pulls it in, takes off for the score. 10-7 South Dakota State. It was 10-10 at half. This game would go to overtime, tied at 17. Cats up first. Adam Jones on the carry, pushes the nose of the ball over the goal line, 24-17. But the Jacks answered back. Mason to Lofton Ogroski. He had a monster game, 11 catches for $130. That forces a second overtime. South Dakota State scores in one play. Braden Delahoy with a 25-yard score. It's 30-24. Cats facing 4th and short, trying to keep this game alive, but Julius Davis is stopped short, and that's all she wrote. Montana State drops to 0-2 after a double overtime loss, 30-24. Tom Wiley, MTN Sports.
Tonight also marked the start of our broadcast season on Scripps Sports. Ben Creighton and Ty Gregorak opened their 4th season together in the booth. Here's their reaction to Montana State's season opener.
I mean, this game lived up to all the hype, all the expectations. You can probably tell I'm sweating, I'm shiny a little bit because, Ty, you and I are just exhausted from calling that fun one.
Yeah, I'm just sweating because I'm fat and I'm exhausted too. But my goodness, I don't want to say that I'm shocked, but this place doesn't know this. That's the 3rd loss in this stadium in 6 years. That's incredible. Now, are all 3 of those losses to dang good teams? Yes, Sacramento State, North Dakota State in the playoffs, and now the number 2 team in the country. But I said it at the end of the broadcast, Ben, they're going to look at the tape and they're rubbing their temples going, boy, we left a lot out there. We squandered a lot of opportunities, some silliness and some foolishness that has to get cleaned up if they're going to go the distance and the aspirations that they have.
Yeah, miscues obviously a big story there for Montana State throughout that game. You on special teams, as we'll take a look at some of them right here. Again, you had that block punt, a couple fumbles surrendered by the Bobcats. Again, give a lot of credit to South Dakota State in that defense, but you can't cough up the ball and make these mistakes, especially miss field goals against a top 3 opponent.
Yeah, and you and I were talking about it. I'm not going to take anything away from the defenses. I thought both defenses played very, very well. I thought both offenses looked clunky at times, looked good at times. Obviously, that 3rd phase of the game for both special teams, ultimately had an impact on this game. And then the 4th phase, coaching, the coaches are going to go back to work bright and early in the morning. And, like I said about the Cats, they probably got to have some introspective, soul-searching type looks as to their identity and who they are and what they need to do and how they can make those corrections with the Toreros coming in next Saturday.
Yeah, and 0-2 start, looking to bounce back against that San Diego squad here in Bozeman next week.
Hi everybody, Scott Breen here, and what a wild opener for the Montana Grizzlies. Let's get you straight out to Grizz Stadium and pick it up. They're expecting a big year out of running back Eli Gilman, and boy, they got a nice look early. Montana's opening drive, pound the ground, Gilman gone for 54 yards in the touchdown. 15 carries and 198 yards for Eli. Next Grizz position, back to the ground game. Stevie Rocker Jr. from short range, 14-3 Grizz after 1. As scripted, right? Not so fast. Here comes Division II Central Washington. How about that play? Camden Lloydhammer all alone, now a 14-10 game. And then watch this play. Bo Phillips breaks a high tackle attempt. He scampers 31 yards for the touchdown. Grizz Nation stunned, trailing the Wildcats 17-14. Late first half, Ka'ali'i escapes, and watch him find Drew Deck wide open for the 50-yarder. Montana regains the lead 21-17, but still dicey at halftime. Wildcats again driving for the lead. Now in the second half, they dig into the bag of tricks. Kennedy McGill hands off, pass back to him. But in the end zone, Micah Harper leaps up to pick it for the Grizz. That puts Montana back in business. They expect a lot from this guy, Michael Wortham, a magician. Transfer from Eastern Washington, 6 catches for 120 yards. Grizz pull away in the second half, 42-17.
An impressive season-opening victory for Montana football. The Grizz knock off Central Washington 42-17 at Wa-Grizz. A dominant second half was the story. And, Jordan, this was a fun game to call. Plenty of offense, 567 yards total for Montana. And the stars, Gilman and Wortham, were fantastic.
Yeah, both of those young men had a great game. I mean, the old adage, tale of two halves, but Gilman, really big night. Wortham, really big night. We said earlier, before the show, for them to have a good game, they were going to have a big game, and that they did.
Talk about the transition. You're up 21-17. You're in the locker room. You're Bobby Houck. What were you telling the kids you think there, and how and why did they respond so well?
Well, you got to settle in. This is their first game. They've been playing against each other for a long time. You're playing against a really good Central Washington team who's had a lot of success, and they did a lot of things really, really well. And Montana kind of shot themselves in the foot a couple of times. So they needed to settle down, make the adjustments. They did on defense, and then they did on offense as well. So that is a positive for Montana, that they're able to take coaching at halftime, make some adjustments, and then come out the second half and do a really, really good job.
Well, Wortham was fantastic in the open field. Eli Gilman, a career game, 198 yards, and those 3 touchdowns as well. He does it between the tackles and to the outside.
That's what makes him so dangerous. He's not one-dimensional. He doesn't just have home run speed. He doesn't just have 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Power, ability. He can do both, Trey. He can run inside. He can run outside. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. Really, really good running back for Montana.
Well, if there are any questions about Montana's offense, I think we've gotten some answers. Almost 600 yards of offense. They did have a couple turnovers that were costly if you want to nitpick, but they really ran the football well.
They did run the football well. One thing I'm going to point out, though, and this is something that they're going to look at. 36 minutes time of possession for Central Washington. Montana was able to score fast when they did score. You look at the total yards. Really, really good job. Really good job being balanced. That's what Coach Houck wants to have. He wants to have a balanced attack. 257 yards passing, 310 yards throwing. That's what he wants to have out of his offense.
Game 1 in the books, a Montana victory. Big test next as North Dakota comes to town, and that'll be a great one from Washington Grizzlies Stadium. Montana winners here 42-17. That's the story from Missoula.
Still ahead on Sports Extra, another top 25 matchup on the Frontier Conference gridiron. Tech Carroll coming your way after the break.
Follow Montana Sports on Facebook and join the conversation with fans across the state.
Welcome back to MTN Sports Extra, powered by MontanaSports.com.
Well, 4 Frontier Conference football teams are ranked inside the top 25 or receiving votes, and all 4 of them played this afternoon in Montana. MTN's Johnny Walker takes us to the Hilltop in Helena for the biggest matchup of the weekend.
For the 134th time since 1920, it's Carroll College football taking on Montana Tech. And we should be in for a treat tonight, as both of these teams are ranked in the top 25. Fighting Saints hosting their home opener under the lights. But it's Tech putting the first points on the board as Derek Pierce runs in untouched from 27 yards out. Second quarter, Orediggers driving again, but the ball comes loose. Carroll capitalizing on the short field a few plays later as Caden Hewitt finds Lincoln Holmes in the back of the end zone, and we're tied up at 7 apiece. But Tech quickly back into scoring position. Running back Wykees Johnson not to be denied from 1 yard out. And Tech would go into the half up 16-7. Now this later in the fourth quarter, and Carroll trailing by 10. Tech gets the block punt, gets the ball back inside the 10, and it's Johnson with his 3rd touchdown run of the day as Orediggers bury these Saints on the road.
Hey everyone, welcome to Dillon, where Montana Western football is set for its home opener against MSU Northern. Both these teams looking to bounce back from Week 1 losses, So let's get right to those highlights. Well, Northern quickly punts, and now Western's first drive. And here's quarterback Michael Palandri avoiding sacks, keeping his balance, buying all sorts of time. And it pays off as he connects with John Kirkley for a 25-yard score, and Western on the board first. Next drive, and the Bulldog offense still cooking. And this course is called a 30-yard touchdown strike from Palandri to Seshuk as Western storms to a 14-0 lead in the first quarter. And that's 2 drives, 2 touchdowns for the Bulldogs. And next Western possession, same story as Palandri hits Eli Norse for the score, and this game already getting out of hand. And Western's defense making plenty of plays as well as Cale Van Kampen pulls down Ashton Platt for a loss. And now Northern's offense backed up in its own end zone, and the Bulldogs defense capitalizes and jars the ball loose. And there for the recovery is Liam Rowe as Western delivers a shutout en route to a 52-0 victory, and the Bulldogs pick up their first win of the season. In Dillon, Luke Shelton, MTN Sports.
Still ahead, taking a break from the gridiron to check in on some of the more dominant teams in cross country and volleyball. Stay with us.
There's more action online at montanasports.com.
Welcome back to MTN Sports Extra, powered by montanasports.com.
Year in and year out, some of Montana's top distance runners hail from the northwest corner of the state, and 2025 is no different. MTN's Derek Joseph has more on Kalispell Glacier's top contenders.
Probably my biggest goal is trying to get our team up on the podium at state this year.
Last year, Glacier Cross Country had 2 top 3 runners in the state on their respective boys and girls teams. On the boys' side is senior runner Owen Thiel, who is coming into this season with an even bigger end goal in mind after a successful track season.
I was really bummed with my 3rd place finish. I was really confident going into that meet. So with my state title in the 2-mile this year, I'm feeling confident again, but I've learned from last year not to be too confident, so that is another huge goal of mine, is to get that state title.
A large piece of Thiel's confidence came from his performance in one of the largest races in Montana, the Mountain West Classic, where he took first. It was also at this race that his fellow teammate Lauren Beeson won the girls' race, catapulting her to the top of the list of runners to watch in AA.
I was able to race that way, and I had never done something like that before, and so I was really grateful for that experience because it gave me a lot of confidence.
After placing 3rd in her respective race at state, Beeson is also ready to take the next steps toward being crowned a champion.
So I do plan to be in the top competitive field. I want to be the best I can possibly be, and I hope to do that by pushing others as well as taking their strength and using it.
For both runners, this season is not just about their individual performances, but they also hope to lift up trophies with the rest of their team.
We've got some really great guys, sophomores and juniors that are on our lower half of varsity, but they really carry the team and they put in the work.
We'd really like to podium this year, and I know that I can help my team do that through positivity and support and just being there. And I know that there are a lot of girls that are nipping at the bit this year, and they want that too.
Reporting in Kalispell, I'm Derek Joseph, MTN Sports.
The Southern B is one of the more competitive divisions for high school volleyball teams in Montana, and one squad has been building steadily and on the verge of a breakthrough. MTN's Alec Boffinger takes us to Shepherd.
High expectations surround the Shepherd volleyball team in 2025. The Phillies are loaded with upperclassmen, including 7 seniors that have spent all 4 years under head coach Camber Kelly.
Whether it's at practice, a game, in the classroom, again, like we just push each other. We're honest with each other. That's a really big thing. We're not afraid to call each other out, but it's not taken personally. And that team atmosphere really makes us grow.
Among those senior Phillies are a handful of softball players that, last we saw them, were winning the program's first state championship. That experience in the spring has certainly carried confidence forward.
They finally got a taste, right? So you have a few girls on this team who are part of that, juniors, seniors, and they're like, it's the coolest thing ever. You know, obviously the ultimate goal for every high school program should be a state championship, right? Volleyball's a tough sport, and it's a game of momentum and swings, and a lot of it, if you have all the skill in the world, that's great, but if you don't have the mental capacity and grit to just fight and compete, you can lose at any moment.
Being able to win a state championship through softball is being able to like get over the hurdle of being able to push through the season all the way through the state championship. So I do think that might carry on into volleyball a little bit, just being able to have the experience of pushing through.
It's a class full of multi-sport girls that also excel in the classroom, setting a precedent for success both on the floor and off for the young ones in the Shepherd community.
Culture really has changed over the last 4 years, and I do give a lot of credit to that outgoing senior class. It just kind of like kicked it into high gear, and these guys are that first outgoing class, you know, since that shift. Our junior high program is now huge. Our 6th grade program has now taken off.
But keep an eye on these Phillies and the always competitive Southern Bee. For MTN Sports, I'm Alec Boffinger.
Download our free app and take MTN Sports with you. Just search Montana Sports in the App Store or Google Play.
Welcome back to MTN Sports Extra, powered by MontanaSports.com.
A former Billings West golfer is still turning heads in the links as he chases a professional career. MTN's Scott Breen tells us about his most recent record-setting exploit.
You won't find many golfers here in Montana who can shoot 59, let alone right here in Billings. But one recently did, and this is the green at Highlands where he slammed the door.
I'd say this is pretty close. This was about the same spot.
Joey Moore is talking about this knee knocker on July 17th to set the Highlands course record. Now, the record's one thing, shooting in the 50s, entirely more pressure-packed.
This one was pretty nerve-wracking.
And that's what he did to shoot 59 and beat the previous course record by 2 strokes. That was held for years by head club pro Eddie Cavron.
He's given me a whole bunch of crap over the years where he's like, you know, you break it, you can't come play out here anymore. And I mean, I've known Eddie since I was like 4 or 5 years old. He's like my second dad. Taking it from him, it's kind of fun. He's got plenty of them.
The good thing is he didn't want to do it with 60, so he just skipped that and did 59. That was a bad day because that day I was playing at a Pro-Am at Riverside. My daughter beat me there too, so it was a bad day all around.
Moore, who's 25, is targeted for Corn Ferry Tour qualifying school this fall before some knee surgery. His record scorecard shows 12 birdies and no bogeys on the par 71 course.
4 under on the front was pretty solid for me because I usually don't play the front 9 very well.
But then he birdies 8 of 9 on the back, and just look at all those circles. His signed scorecard will hang in the Highlands President's Room, along with his name engraved as the club's new low-round leader. Moore set the mark on Men's Day during a shotgun start. This was his closing hole, the par 5 13.
Weeks prior, I was hitting it OB left, so it's kind of a tough tee shot for me at that time.
But he hit a big draw that stayed in bounds.
And I hit it in the left side of the fairway, which there's a tree there that can kind of block you out with a left pin. I didn't want to hit the tree and ricochet anywhere, so I wanted to just be safe and start it out by the bunkers and just hook it in.
It took him one time to recreate it for us.
That's almost the exact shot that I hit. I mean, it was just one of those days where everything was falling. Everybody was pretty excited.
As if the club record wasn't enough, Moore tells us just a couple days prior, he hit his first career hole-in-one on number 5 at Highlands. Scott Breen, MTN Sports.
That's all the time we have for this edition of Sports Extra on a Saturday night. Thanks for joining us, and remember, the conversation continues online at MontanaSports.com, where you can find recaps of all the Big Sky and Frontier Conference games from the weekend, plus the first edition of our high school football power rankings. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week